Motherhood is regarded to be this beautiful, paramount thing, but what happens when it isn't? Hannah Bergholm's debut horror flick dissects exactly that. Hatching follows the story of a 12-year-old girl, Tina, as she tries to be perfect in her mother's eyes. One day, Tina finds an abandoned egg in the woods and decides to bring it home. But this innocent act of kindness leaves Tina's life cracked open. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to this channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Now let's begin. Nurture Evil, Hatching, 2022. The opening shot establishes the creepy body horror theme of the movie without any delay. We see a young girl with her back towards us, stretching, and the outline of her spine is visible with excruciating detail. Her mother soon rushes into the frame in what appears to be a video taken on a phone. We then see her father and brother Matthias. At first glance, they're perfect. Tina is on the path to becoming a professional gymnast. Her mother, a former figure skater, is a social influencer that documents the lifestyle of an average Finnish family. Her father is a well-off architect, and her brother is the sweetest kid. We see them perform for a vlog, which they end on a fairly ironic note. I hope your everyday life is as lovely as ours. Ironic because of what takes place immediately after. Just as they wrap up their video, a crow flies in through the window and wreaks havoc in the living room. Tina captures it and brings it to her mother. Her mother, to her disbelief, snaps the bird's neck, and Tina is the one who has to dispose of the corpse. But interestingly enough, she fails to see that the bird was not yet dead. Soon she meets her new neighbor, Rita, and her French bulldog, Rusa. Not much stands out about Rita at first, but we will see later on just how monumental her presence is in Tina's life. At night, her mother sings a lullaby to Matthias, and Tina joins her mother, Ellie's bird. This song provides some major foreshadowing for what's to come. Later on, amid her sleep, Tina is awoken by the sound of cawing. Her curiosity takes her to the woods, where she finds the bird she had left helpless in the trash. At first, she tries helping it, but then decides to take it out of its misery, repeatedly thrashing it with a rock. Nearby, she discovers an egg. Now, whether it was out of guilt or Tina's maternal instincts that led her to bring the egg home is another debate on its own. Tina puts the egg under a teddy bear, hoping to incubate it like a bird. We see Tina at practice. She struggles to land a flip and gets visibly disheartened. Her coach tells her that if she can improve, she can take part in the competition. When she returns home, Tina sees her mother in an intimate embrace with another man, Tiro. Her mother explains to Tina that sometimes a woman will have to do certain things for herself and seek certain pleasures that she claimed her husband couldn't give her. Tina doesn't object to her mother's choices, but it's evident that this has an adverse impact on her. At her next practice, we see Tina working tirelessly to get her stunt right, while her mother instructs her from the sidelines. In the middle of it, she's joined by a new student, none other than her new friend, Rita. Rita lands a perfect stunt, which sends Tina's mother into a subdued fit of jealousy. She makes Tina practice her stunt for hours after class until her hands are bleeding from blisters. Her mother's obsession with Tina's performance is beyond toxic in nature. The "my beloved smother" trope, seen frequently in TV and cinema, is the base premise of this film. One can draw stark comparisons to movies such as Tangled or I, Tonya, where the overly controlling mother slowly but surely becomes the final antagonist. That night, Tina checks on the rapidly growing egg. She touches it with her bloody blistered palm, and to her surprise, the egg starts glowing. Her mother continues to put a heavy load on Tina's mind with her words when she tells her that she might be in love. She explains Tiro is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Upon hearing this, Tina's face drops. Soon comes the gravely unavoidable event, the hatching. One night, the egg hatches into a hideous skeletal creature resembling a newborn bird. Tina, scared for her life, hides until the creature escapes the room, blasting out of the window. The creature returns the following day with a shard of glass stuck through its limb. In a shocking and rather funny turn of events, we see Tina removing the glass shard and bathing the creature. But what compels her to do so? Why does she decide to care for this creature that has brought her nothing but pain? The psychology behind this is quite simple. She thinks anyone and anything should be deserving of love, the kind of love she desperately craves from her mother. She names the creature Ellie after the lullaby and prepares a makeshift bed for it under her bed. She goes to bed with Ellie underneath her, half terrified of it and half terrified for it. But Tina can hardly sleep as Rita's dog barking keeps her up. When she does fall asleep, we witness a rather perplexing shot. At first we think it is a shot of Tina's dream. From her point of view, we see her going into the neighbouring house, but soon we realise it may actually be Ellie. Tina wakes up to utter horror. Perched on her sits Ellie, patiently awaiting its mother to wake up. Tina turns her head to see the decapitated corpse of Rita's dog. Unable to keep it together, Tina vomits. Mimicking the way a nestling feeds from its mother's regurgitated food, Ellie eats the vomit off the floor. Tina buries the corpse under the flower bed in the garden. She is seen by Matthias, but he doesn't outright confront her for it. The character of Matthias is written to fit an "I told you so" trope that comes up in almost all horror movies. This character knows something from the start, but the minute they try to warn the other, their claims are regarded as delusions. At school, Tina finds comfort in her new friend Rita. They decide to walk home together, and Tina even helps her put up posters for her missing dog, all the while biting her lip, overtaken by guilt. Once she gets home, she's gifted a hairbrush by her mother, who had forgotten to get something for Matthias. Angry, Matthias digs up the shallow grave and presents the corpse in front of his family. He tells them repeatedly that Tina is the one that killed it, but no one believes him. This sends Matthias on the prowl for proof. He sneaks into Tina's room, wearing his cardboard mask as a guise, and here he encounters the ghastly creature. The creature slashes Matthias' mask open. At the same time, Tina has a seizure downstairs. After the incident with the dog, this is the second time we see Ellie's effect on Tina's psyche, or perhaps it's the other way round. Safe to say, Ellie is no ordinary giant bird from the woods, but something much more sinister. The next defining moment would be the mother scanning through Tina's bedroom. She doesn't find Ellie, but finds Tina's competition outfit left lacerated. She says to her daughter, "I thought the competition was as important to you as it is to me." And with this one sentence, she makes her true intentions clear. Tina's mother tries to live vicariously through her. She sees Tina's potential as her own and puts Tina through hell to get what she desires. But this obsession with the competition may even be as a result of the mother's image on social media. Earlier, she discusses live streaming the competition with Tina. One can wonder if she cares for Tina's skills at all, or does she just want a trophy child to parade out into the world? Tina realizes that the only way Ellie will eat anything is if she has regurgitated it first. She feeds it bird feed and continues to care for it, but oddly enough, Tina notices Ellie growing blonde hair. But this doesn't unnerve her, which is quite a plot hole if one thinks about it. A giant bird that also grows human hair? One can only blame Tina's behavior on her inner yearning to have someone to care for. Ellie continues to terrorize the household, scaring off both Matthias and the mother in the middle of the night. And again, Matthias' claims of Tina being a monster are brushed aside, but the presence of the creature is felt by all. To Tina's mother's dismay, Rita wins the competition spot. Sensing Tina's unhappiness, Ellie attacks Rita on her way back home. Tina has another seizure during the attack, and Ellie's actions infuriate her, and yet she is unable to completely give it up. On finding Ellie's molten beak, Tina realizes that the creature is beginning to look exactly like her. Tina tries to punish Ellie for what she did to Rita, but just as she raises her hand to take a swing at Ellie, she instead hits herself. The pain inflicts on Ellie, and Tina's suspicions are confirmed. Ellie and Tina are somewhat telepathic, except the symptoms are far more perverse. Ellie can feel what Tina feels physically, and Tina can read Ellie's mind at any given moment. Tina's mother takes her away to Tiro's for the competition weekend. She meets Tiro once more and his infant, Helmi. We discover that Tiro is a widower whose wife died during childbirth. Tina soon begins to find comfort in Tiro. Tiro strongly believes that nothing comes perfect and that broken things need fixing, not punishment. For the first time in her life, Tina experiences the unadulterated compassion of a parental figure. But this doesn't last long. When Tina feeds Ellie in her room, Tiro walks in on them and thinks of Ellie as Tina, as they almost look identical by now. In this ruckus, Ellie maims Tiro's hand, and Tina takes the blame for it. But despite witnessing Ellie's malevolent nature, Tiro forgives Tina, suspecting her poor mental state. Tina is overwhelmed when she sees her mother give Helmi the affection she yearns for. She's also aware of the implications. She is beyond afraid of what Ellie might do in her absence and tries in vain to convince her mother to bring Helmi along for the competition. At the event, we see Tina stretch through her mother's live stream. As she begins her stunt, Tina realizes that Helmi is in grave danger. Ellie has taken Tiro's axe and gone up to Helmi's room. Tina, in a desperate act to save Helmi, sabotages her routine and injures her hand, hoping that it stops Ellie from doing the unspeakable. But Tiro catches Ellie in the act before she can escape, still thinking that it's Tina. He kicks her and her mother out, and he tells the mother that Tina has some serious problems and he cannot let them near his house. This affects her mother more than she can let on. For the first time, we see the image of a perfect life disintegrate. In the car, she bangs her head against the steering wheel, screaming, giving herself a bloody nose. She then tells Tina what she had feared the most, that Tina is the reason for her unhappiness. The air between the two doesn't improve until the mother goes looking for Tina, but in her place finds a distraught Ellie. She begins to brush Ellie's hair and horrifically stares at the scene when she rips out a chunk of Ellie's flesh from her head. Ellie attacks her. Well, it only looks like she attacks her. In reality, Ellie tries to caress her. Tina intervenes to save her mother. She screams at Ellie and tells her she never wants to see it again. She tells her to leave forever. But Ellie doesn't take this too well. Her jaw rips apart from her screaming and she runs to hide somewhere in the house. Tina explains to her mother that everything that has been going wrong has been because of the creature. All the chaos has been Ellie all along. When her father and brother return, the family get together to hunt the creature down. Tina and her mother locate Ellie in her room, and a fight ensues. Ellie overpowers the mother, who in turn stabs Ellie's leg, also injuring Tina. Tina stands utterly grief-stricken. She knows if Ellie is not killed, things will only get worse. But if it is, Tina suspects that she may die as well. In a last attempt to save Ellie, Tina steps in front of it just as her mother goes to stab it. Tina collapses to the floor, dripping some of her blood into Ellie's mouth, and this transfusion shifts something in Ellie. As Tina lies there dead, and her mother in disbelief, Ellie slowly stands up, her eyes fully human. It croaks, and croaks again, until we hear a faint "Mother." The film ends on a genre-defining cliffhanger. Has the creature fully morphed into Tina, or does this new visage still hold remnants of Ellie's ominous nature? All in all, this is a story about mothers and their daughters. It's a story of the collective feminine experience, which undoubtedly has something haunting lurking within it. Recent trends in the horror genre have proved this trope to be an extremely dynamic storytelling device. One can think of Ari Aster's critically acclaimed Hereditary, or the age-old classic Rosemary's Baby. The mother sees herself in her daughter, and the daughter can't help but see her mother in herself. And they might love each other, or be at each other's throats. Either way, they are cursed by the other. There will always be something that bounds them. There is no escape from it. Where there is love, there is something to fear. A little baby bird monster explored. whilst also delivering stark commentary on motherhood and the onset of vlogger hysteria. Hatching shows us a near unforgettable monster. The monster was brought to life by famed animatronics designer Gustav Hojen. It was operated by a team of puppeteers. 4 people operated the limbs and another took care of the head and the body, while Hojen was in charge of the facial expressions. One of the major challenges the team faced was making the monster look affectionate or terrifying, as per what the scene demanded. The monster here is at first a gigantic newborn bird. Nothing apart from its size makes it stand out from other nestlings. But as the film progresses, Ellie goes through some changes. Firstly, it starts growing hair, human hair. Then its limbs take the form of human limbs, and its blackened skin turns into human flesh. It slowly, quite literally, becomes Tenya, and at the very end, a complete transformation takes place. Not only does Ellie take on the physical appearance of Tenya, but it also takes on her mind and the trauma it holds. Ellie is a living, breathing manifestation of Tenya's deepest and often darkest desires. It hunts anyone who gets in the way of Tenya and her mother. Tenya and Ellie are seen to work in unison. Whatever one feels, the other does too. The biggest question the film asks is whether Tenya is the one affected by Ellie's actions, or are Ellie's actions a direct result of Tenya's conscience? No one knows, but one can surely wonder. What if, deep down, Tenya had actually wanted to hurt the ones close to her? What if Ellie was nothing but a silhouette that allowed Tenya to do whatever she wanted to? Another remarkable thing is that Tenya's blood has a direct effect on Ellie's anatomy. When she first touches the egg with her blistered hands, it glows, and in the very last scene, we see Tenya's blood fully transform Ellie into herself. Thus, even though Ellie did not come out of Tenya's body, they are indisputably blood-bound, and perhaps this is what draws Ellie to view Tenya as its mother. After premiering at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival, Hatching has gathered multiple mixed reviews from critics and fans alike. It has been compared to the 1990 film Meet the Applegates and the Swedish monster movie Border. But apart from what it's like, fans have been quick to point out that it is nothing like anything that has come before. With its witty use of magical realism and the deeply intellectual plot structure, Hatching has established itself as a pioneer of experimental body horror. Although the film fails to engage the audience at an emotional level, it does speak on matters experienced by half the population. A certain dialogue from Tenya's mother puts the film's importance into perspective. She says to her daughter that for years and years, all she had done was give to others. She believed that was all there was for a woman to do. If you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.